Hi there, my name's Adrian Camilleri. I'm the course coordinator of Market Research. In this video I'm just going to give you a little bit of feedback regarding the mid-semester test. So there were two questions on the mid-semester test. Most people actually went for question 2, but I'll go through some feedback for both questions. So the first question was about a national grocery store who's had a sales slump and the manager's trying to figure out what they should do. So the first part of this question was about the 6 steps involved in the problem definition stage. Most students could list the steps involved in the problem definition process. Those students who received higher marks tended to be the ones who were able to thoroughly define and describe each step as opposed to simply listing it. The second part of this question was looking at comparing and contrasting exploratory, descriptive and causal research methods to address the problem the manager is having and then actually making a recommendation. So most students could list the general characteristics of exploratory, descriptive and causal research. Those who were able to directly compare and contrast the relative benefits and costs of each method with reference to the case tended to get the higher marks. Most students made a clear recommendation, which was good, and most students recommended exploratory or descriptive research. In this case, the correct answer was exploratory research, and that's because although it's pretty clear from management's perspective what their objectives are and what their problem is, what's not clear is the underlying problem, and so that's where market research needs to come in and do some exploratory research to try to understand, well, what is causing this sales slump. So moving on to question 2 now. This was about a Melbourne-based board game store owner who wanted to conduct some market research, and the store owner was comparing 2 different research methods. So one problem that students had was that they actually failed to clearly explain what the research method is. They just sort of dived into describing the advantages and disadvantages of, for example, a survey without actually explaining what the survey is first. And that's a problem because in some cases it became kind of clear that the person who was answering the question actually didn't understand what a survey was. So always be very clear up front with defining the research method. Most students were able to list advantages and disadvantages of the research methods, although just writing down it's cheap probably was insufficient. Okay, we needed a little bit more information than that, and especially because this question asked for compare and contrast, looking at the relative advantages and disadvantages of each method with reference to the case tended to get the higher marks. So yeah, the compare and contrasting part was the part that I think let down a lot of students. So using keywords like compared to method A, method B is better at X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. Nearly all students made a recommendation, again, which was good, and most students in this case made the correct recommendation, which was the pen and paper survey. That's because this is a descriptive research question primarily. Those who recommended an exploratory research method basically tended to find it very difficult to justify why they were choosing an exploratory research method to answer what is essentially a descriptive research question. So in general, that's the feedback. I think on average the mark was 5.9 out of 10, which is actually higher than last semester, so we're happy about that. It could be helped, I think, by the additional practice test that everybody got due to fire alarm. But anyway, I think everybody's on the right track. It's good to have this feedback. If you want more feedback, feel free to speak with your tutor, or I will be having an open office next Monday, so you'll find an announcement for that on Blackboard. So good luck with the rest of the semester.